Hey there, my name's Jonathan. For those of you who don't know me, I like to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Every once in a while I play for fun. And I have this deck here, Heraldic deck, and I'm going to do a deck profile on this deck. It's not OTK oriented, it's not, trying to spam the field. It's basically just a deck for fun. That's all it's for, and nothing else. Alright, so let's get into the deck profile. Remove this. Alright then, so to start off we have three Heraldic Dragon of Su. Pretty self-explanatory. Then we have three Cassette. This card right here is actually my favorite out of all of the Heraldics. Not out of all of the Heraldics, because the XYZ Heliopolis is actually pretty cool with the artwork, but out of all the cards for the deck, this card is my favorite because of its ability. Then we have three Tefnuit Rare. This card I also like because of its artwork. I don't really care for the effect too much. I understand that it's just so it can be tributed, but sometimes you need to get a monster out and it can't attack, and well, it is 6 stars, so I understand why they add that restriction, and it can always be a good blocker when you don't have anything. So yeah. 2 Neb. I only played 2 because I don't see any reason for 3. I basically I didn't want to overclog the deck. I didn't want to add anything that would be too much, and 3 is too much in my opinion, especially since I'm not trying to OTK with this deck. I can do an OTK, obviously, because it's Heraldics, but if you're going to do an OTK, you have to pretty much give up most of your hand, unless you have Super Rejuvenation. Then you don't have to worry too much about it. But still, stuff sometimes happens. Sometimes you have to OTK, then you lose your entire hand and you don't have anything. 1 Geb. I would have 2, but when I bought the double box set for this deck, I basically only got 1 Geb. But it's okay because I got enough cards to make an entire deck out of the box, so it worked out in my favor. And 1 just works perfect in this deck. I rarely get him, and when I do get him, he's usually very good. He lets me get out, Synchro. He lets me get out a tribute for, Super Rejuvenation, and pretty much does everything. And then when you attack, you get to bring out another monster like a level 6 or Heraldic Seal, or a tuner, and then you have that for later. And if it doesn't get destroyed, you can use it to Synchro up or XYZ or whatever you want to do. So now I have 3 Light Ray Daedalus. I know it might seem like it's cloggy, but it's not. I rarely ever get them in my hand, and when I do get them, basically I usually have enough in my graveyard already to end the game, and I usually have enough cards in my graveyard to summon them. And when I don't, the next draws that I get, I usually draw something to get stuff into the graveyard to add this guy on the field. So I like to save him in my hand if I can't summon him. And he's also good fodder if he is in my hand and I can't summon him for the next card I'm going to show you, which I think you all know what it is. Double Tragoedia. Now, I only have double Tragoedia because really it was because of the ban list. Because of the ban list, I couldn't have like Heavy Storm, Monster Reborn, so I decided, you know what, if I can't have these really good spell cards or these really good trap cards, I'm going to just stick with a really good hand trap. So I used the only 2 Tragoedias I have in this deck. I took it out of one of my other decks, and it works out really well. But I still wish I had Monster Reborn, but hey, ban list. I don't play exactly by the ban list, but I try and be fair, okay? Now we're going to go with the generics, the vanillas. These are self-explanatory: Wattail, Flamvell, and Seal. They all do the thing that they're intended to do in this deck. I play 1 Grand Mole, 1 Marshmelon, 1 Morphing Jar for draw power late game. Sometimes, you know, your Super Rejuves, you don't have them yet, or if you do, you don't have the tributes for him. So pretty much, yeah, he's a great card to have, especially if you already have Marshmelon on the field, and then you draw this guy and set him. You know, even if they get rid of Marshmelon, you know, you still have Morphing Jar to defend, and if they don't get rid of Marshmelon, then by next turn you can just flip Morphing Jar and, yeah, pretty much get draws. This deck is really monster heavy, so especially because of the Trigodias, but it's not that bad a deck. You're not going to have too many moments where your hands you can't do anything, and if you draw into Super Rejuvenations, then you're definitely not going to have any trouble. Even if it's in your hand, you save it for later, or you set it, and you pretty much just get tons of draws. I've managed to get 3 of them at once and draw, I think, 8 cards. No, not 8. I think 9 cards, 3 for each. So, which is good, but at the same time, Super Rejuvenation at the end phase, you're going to have to, you know, still discard all those extra cards, but, you know, it gives you your options, and you can send stuff to the graveyard, and then it works out for, you know, Daedalus, you know? So, all good. Now then, 3 Heraldic Seals. Self-explanatory, gets your Heraldics. 1 Day of Peace, just 1. Pot of Duality. Swords of Revealing Light. Anyway, this card I had to add because I had a trap card, but it wasn't really working out. If you don't want to use swords, Threatening Roar is a good replacement, or you can use Enemy Controller. It's really good because when you tribute, it's not a cost, so you do get the Heraldic monster, because it says right here, tribute 1 monster, then target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Alright, so it's not a cost, you know. Night Beam, Wing Beat, no Heavy Storm, which I used to have Wing Beat in here anyway. Hollow Dark Hole. Now then, 3 Reckless Greeds. When you're using Reckless Greed in this deck, you basically don't want to activate them until you have 2 in your hand or all 3. I'll usually set them, and unless I need cards in my hand to, you know, stop myself from losing, I don't activate it. I'll leave it set, and if anything happens to it, then I'll chain it and, you know, get the draws. If a Night Beam happens, well, that sucks, but, you know, sometimes you have to take these risks in Yu-Gi-Oh! But I always save it, not always in my hand, because sometimes people have MST set, so if I have a chance to set it, I'm going to set it, because you never know if they have an MST set and then they activate it when you set yours and you lose your card. Pretty much the same thing as Night Beam, you know, you have to take these risks. So I'll usually set it until I get 2 of them, and then if anything happens, you know, I lose that one but I have the other, or if I manage to set them both when I'm really in desperate need, boom, I activate both of them, I get 4 cards, and I'm back in the game. So that's how I use Reckless Greed. Now then, 1 Safe Zone. This card is great. It's perfect when you have a Neb, or you have not a Neb, if you have a Geb, or you need to save any of your Heraldics. You don't want them to get destroyed, so that way you can tribute them next turn, start a combo, and then Mirror Force. Self-explanatory. Now on to the extra deck. Okay. 1 Neo Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. This card is really fun in the deck. I managed to get him out a lot of the time, and every time I get him out, it's always a win, because you know how people use XYZs nowadays. Now I have number 107 Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon. Also a really good card. If you don't know what it is, search it up, because it's really good. I don't want to take up all your time. Atum, Gaia, Photon Strike Bouncer, Force Focus, Heliopolis, Force Focus again. I like to point out that I used to have, you see these 2 cards right here? I used to have 2 Iron Chain Dragons, but Iron Chain does not work anymore in this meta, so I decided to remove it. For these 2 cards, they kind of work, but they're not that great. Next, Silver Eyes Dragon, Galaxy Warrior, Lightning Warrior, Black Rose Dragon, best card, and then Peace to Resistance, Red Dragon Archfiend. Really great card. Some suggestions, because right now I don't really have a side deck. All I have is suggestions. The new version of Burst Breath is not a tribute. It's not a cost. It is a tribute, but if you read it, it does say then. So I'm assuming that it's not a cost. This version is, because it's one of the older versions, but if I get a newer version, then I'll, use that one. Threatening Roars, obviously. I have 3. Fiendish Chain. Mind Control, especially for those mirror matches. XYZ Reborn works good in the deck. Pot of Duality. And then for the side deck, Gimmick Puppet is good to try. This card right here is amazing because of its effect. Pretty much she's a Night Beam, but on either player's turn. And 2 other cards to consider. 1 other card to consider is Stoic Challenge. It's really good, does a lot of damage, can help you get game really quick. So other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Tell me what you think about my deck. I'm probably going to do another review later. I know this video took long, but thanks for keeping up with me, and see you later.